any fun over the weekend? Anything good happen? No? Okay, fine. Why don't you guys do whatever you want to do? What the hell? Hey, Greg, you got a happy buck? Advertising. Excellent. I got a call from a friend of mine this morning.
Hey.
Tom.
Hey.
Yes.
Quiet.
Hi, gang. Got a person passed away recently, and unknown to me, and apparently he had a lot of woodworking tools. And he's asked that those be sold, and all the proceeds go to kids fishing. So that will be this Friday and Saturday at 3151 Nichols. And it should be 10 to 6 on Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturday. So come spend some money if you want to volunteer, pass down equipment or whatever. That'd be handy too. Right on. What is
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I have $10. Some are happy, some are confused, and just whatever dollars. One, I'm super excited for my trip to Dothan, Alabama on Tuesday. Hello, I'm talking. Thank you. So I'm flying out to Dothan, Alabama Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. I booked first class and spent all that extra money so I could have breakfast. I called on Wednesday to verify that I could have gluten-free, and guess what? I'm not getting a meal now. So, at least I'll have a comfortable seat, whatever. Happy Dollar also is I am doing new canning techniques this year. I'm making sauerkraut, and then my canning partner wanted to do some spaghetti sauce, and we're going to follow the cookbook recipe. I made some with our daughter Samantha, and I gave Kitty a quart of it. She goes, oh no, we're making your sauce, and we're canning your sauce. So that's all good. And then I had a weird moment today. I work in a plumbing shop, for those of you that don't know that. I had a customer come in today that was bragging about his log cabin house and how he has those boats that you take out in the Everglades, air boats out in the Everglades. And so I'm talking, and I said, I'm going to be going to Alabama. And he goes, you know, I want to go there, and I want to get an alligator to hang over my front door. Hey, are you single? I'm like, oh no. Then he goes, do you know any other single ladies our age? And I'm like, no. What do you do? I work in a plumbing store, for goodness sake. It's not a dating site. So, anyways, that was my happy, weird stuff going on.
Gonna go down to the plumbing store and pick up chicks. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I mean, that's where we used to hang out when we were teenagers, Mark, right? That and the lumber store. Yeah. Here we go. Light Mark up.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, first dollar is for a very fun weekend down at the Gearhart beaches in northern Oregon coast. Got to go down and visit with my wife, and I got to go down with my sister Carrie and her husband came over for Ellensburg. It was quite nice. And after a conversation with Cheryl, I figured out what my second dollar was for. I was trying to figure out something about that, but originally I was hoping to do a Doctor Road cleanup this coming Saturday. But for some reason, being retired, I don't seem to have a lot of time and hadn't really planned it yet. So that one will be kicked back a little bit. I already talked to Steve about meeting afterwards and figuring out some of the coordination part of that. But we will go from there.
Oh, Louie's got to talk to his elephant. Where are we going? Jim Reinecke's got a couple of bucks. This ought to be fun.
King Lion, Tom, fellow Lions and guests. I've got a happy dollar and a sad dollar. The happy dollar is the rain is back. The forest fire danger is down, and it's wonderful. The sad dollar, the rain is back. I can't stand this crap. I want 90 degrees.
Yeah. I know, like Eileen's been saying for 50 years, he's so easy to make happy. Yeah. Hey, Paul Spears, I'll come back around that side. See, I gotta get my steps in, you know.
President Tom, fellow lives and guests, this is kind of an informational dollar. I read something the other day I thought was definitely true. It said, behind every angry woman stands a man who has no idea what he's done wrong.
I don't know why he's got to talk about my ex-wife all the time. Let's see, we're sliding around this side. I'm Greg Burt. What? No happy bucks?
Yeah, bring it
Well,
back.
President Tom, fellow lions and guests, I got one. Last night I was over at the Rainier Eagles enjoying the beautiful riverscape, and who would stop by but Bob's back. And he said to say hi to all you people, if you can ever remember to come here on a Tuesday. You could try tomorrow. He says, I'll forget by then. Let's see, the other happy bucks in the Palmer household are that Lion Sam has successfully, let's see, what's the nice word, relocated to Bellingham, second time. I know that I've teased that he's been up there, but he calls me the other day and was like, Dad, do you have any friends from college left up here? And I was like, do you think I could possibly remember them in any way, shape, or form? And so I ended up coming up with a couple of names. So now he's doing some side work for a couple of friends from college that, like Lion Bear and I, when we were students at Western, they just never left. So it was kind of fun. Hey, Gina, how about you? You got a happy bucket too?
I do. I got it right now.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's raining and, President Tom, fellow lines and guests, it's raining and now Pat has reminded me that Justin may never come home. But I have a fun weekend, just like Mark, I had a fun weekend. I have a friend who had a knee replacement. She lives on top of Green Mountain. And I waited a few days and I went to see her, went to make sure she was okay. I take my phone because I'm on baby watch, right? And so we go into the house and we say our hellos and I just sit down and my phone rings. I said, I've got to get this. And sure enough, Alyssa's water broke. Michael was calling me to come and get the other kids so they could go to the hospital. So I have a new grandson. Yay. And let's see, his name is Gavin Theodore.
Come on. Lion Ken Botero. This is going to be an adventure, isn't it?
President Tom, fellow lions and guests, I've got $5 happy dollars.
All right.
The first one, our lovely granddaughter started her graduate year with a big celebration Saturday as the Beavers kicked the butt of the Washington Huskies. The rest of the money is, for several months, Mark has been giving me a bunch of information on swim. We've always wanted to go up there and we want to do things. We want to see the lavender and just have a great time. This weekend, we went to swim and had the most fantastic time. It's the greatest place you could ever go, especially if you're celebrating Marnie's 79th birthday.
How much older are you, Ken? And a one, and a two, and a three. Happy birthday, Marnie. Happy birthday to you, and you can hate us all later.
Yes, sir.
So I go back over to this table in Maryland, the District Governor of Maryland.
President Tom, fellow lions and guests, I have $3 here. I guess I better give them to you, Pat. One is that our youngest son is 45 years old today.
Wow.
That really hits you hard when your last one is in their 40s. And then I have another happy dollar we went back to Ohio, this summer to visit our daughter and our grandson, who is soon to be 17. And Cindy posted his homecoming attire. And she also posted a beautiful party. She just recently remodeled the backyard, put out an outdoor room, and also a fire pit area that's just absolutely beautiful. And so she invited all of his friends over prior to homecoming. And the best part about that teenager thing is that they were not dates. They all dated the night together. About 4 girls, 5 girls, and a bunch of guys, and just had a wonderful time. I think that's a great way to encourage kids that are 16. And then my last dollar, that's kind of a sad dollar. I want to say that I would compare our happy birthday dirge to a bunch of coyotes out in the back.
I'm certain the coyotes have been slighted. How about Lion Terry Woodruff?
King Lion, Bob, fellow lines, yes. Tom, Bob, Harry, Dick,
Doesn't matter. Bob's over there.
No, wait a minute. That meeting came out a little bit more strong. Anyway, I do have 2 happy dollars. You guys got the dirty mind, not me. There you go. At any rate, now that I've forgotten all about it. Speaking of birthdays, my young daughter, Jennifer, who probably the last time a lot of you saw her was this tall. She's 40 years old this week, or last week, on the 2nd. Her husband turned 40 the day before, so they're a match set, I guess. At any rate, that was that. And the other thing is that you may not or may not know, but Bonnie broke her ankle a couple weeks ago. And so now I've got her on a little scooter thing that Phil probably knows how to use those things. And plus her mother lives with us, and she's 90-something. And she's got a wheelchair, so I take them around and throw wheelchairs and things all over the place. I'm getting me really good.
If you get a golf cart, you can take them driveway skiing. It's kind of fun. Who's Lion Phil?
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, I'm glad you found your way to the world of wheelchairs. It's really exciting, especially for the person who's not in the wheelchair. Had an interesting experience this morning. My great-granddaughter Renly, who is 3, likes to share my lunch. She likes to share it with herself and also with our dog, and who is 13 years old. We got a 13-year-old dog and a 3-year-old great-granddaughter. Anyway, so at about 11 o'clock this morning, she went over to the refrigerator, opened it up, got out the salad mix and the jicama and the sugar snap peas, and my wife said, "Well, what are you doing?" And she said, "I'm getting Poppy's lunch ready." She didn't know I was going to Lions. She was really upset when she found out that I was. So she typically eats almost all the jicama that I cut up, and the dog gets most of the peas, and I get what's left. So maybe tomorrow.
It's the strangest diet I've ever heard of. Lion Hal.
Yes, President Tom, Phil Lyons, and guests, happy $5. First, you missed me last week, didn't you? Yeah, I just know that. I can just tell. Thank you for the nice award for Line of the Month. I appreciate that. But I had spent 5 days on the river in a sailboat with a friend from Boise. So on Friday we leave, and it's 83 degrees. Oh my goodness, getting the shorts on, the shirts off, getting our tan, and then, oh yeah. Would you like to see Phil? Oh, no. Yeah, and so Saturday the rains came, and we got off to Astoria, and just beautiful there, except for the rain. And Tuesday, I said, I'm going to check in and see if Leroy got us set up at the meeting here, and it turns out he didn't. But there were 5 of us that were on I guess we'll call it a makeup meeting last Tuesday while you guys were doing whatever you were doing here. So it was really peculiar, and I'm glad to be back, and I can't wait till I leave again.
FYI, and Lion Leroy was sitting here trying to make the dang thing work. And, yeah. And he asked for my help, and I said, you know, here's the help I'm going to give you. Hold the power plug. Turn it off. Hey, Lion Dave.
Preschool 12, Lion, and guests, and ladies. That's all of you. And I'm happy to say that you're all my friends as usual. It's been a good day today so far. I've had a little bit rough 2 or 3 months, or maybe a little longer, but they're measuring out, and God is in that corner, and so is Jesus. And He's with all of us. He's omnipresent. I'd like to sing 2 songs for you. Thank you, Lord, for saving my soul. Thank you, Lord, for giving to me thy great salvation so full and free. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night, from the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide open. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
How about the head table? Anybody up there got anything? Certainly.
Hey, Hal.
Hey, what?
President Tom.
Teach you how to sing.
Okay.
Maybe.
You want me to sing? Is somebody singing?
President Tom, couple lines is yes, take it out of that $5 I gave earlier, if that's okay. The singing reminded me that at St. Stephen's, there's a choir forming for the November 2nd service of Remembrance, which has been a tradition for several years. Coming back this year, it's going to be kind of weird singing with masks and with separation. But November 2nd, service of Remembrance, is a very, very special event.
Where is that at? What time?
St. Stephen's Lutheran Church, I believe it's at 7 p.m., but I'm not certain.
Head table. Well, President Tom, looks like we got to get part-time jobs for the people at the head table so they have happy bucks. It's all yours, boss.
All right. Ken, invocation.
Father, we come before thee and bow our heads in gratitude for the purpose you have to be here as fellow Lions and friends. We also express our gratitude for the privilege you have to support the community in all their efforts, and look forward to the many blessings that is in store for each of us. As we celebrate today, we thank you for the food that thou bless us with, and hopefully it'll nourish and strengthen our bodies. May we be ever grateful for all the blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Steve?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marilyn, song?
My country is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims pride, from every mountainside, let free good song on the planet.
Sharon, is there any guests or?
We have no guests today.
All right. Margie's not here. Does anybody know anything about sunshine? Gail, do you have any? Have you? Okay.
June McDaniel, one of our members, she is doing good.
President Tom, fellow Lions and guests, Jim McDaniel, who's one of the people who helped put on the lunch. She had a hysterectomy about 2 weeks ago now. She's doing good and send prayers.
Okay, did I forget anybody else? Okay. Moving along here, let's go to Paul Spears.
President Lyons, fellow Lions and guests, I thought I started by early enough. I stopped by the Salvation Army today to set up a date to do bell ringing. I feel that's one of the most important projects that we do. The Salvation Army provides a lot of charity work and they do an awful lot for kids in our community. Anyway, we do have a date set up thus far. It is the second Saturday in December. We will have just one door, which is okay, at Fred Meyer. So keep that in mind and please think about volunteering to bell ring. Thank you.
Okay, I have something to bring up. I got a call Friday from Bob Stewart over at what used to be Millennium and is now Northwest Alloys. And we have 1 month to get all of our stuff out of their shop. So if there is anybody around that knows where we can store that stuff or ideas, we need them because we only have a month. So
It's basically the Halloween stuff.
and there's our regular, our freezer wagon and our ice cream machine is out there.
So about how many square feet?
I don't know,
Would it fit in 2 garage bays?
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to get a visual for it.
That's about 500 square feet.
So moving on from there, I have a couple things that came in here. One is, let me get these on. It's a thank you card. A thank you for helping us clean up residents' flower beds at the Collins Villa for United Way Annual Day of Caring. With your help, we were able to accomplish cleaning all the flower beds that needed it. It means so much to us and our residents who are not able to get out to do that. So that was pretty nice. It's from the Housing Authority. And then I have another one, and it says, Dear Club President, congratulations to you and each of your club members on earning the enclosed $50 per member average banner patch, recognizing your club's cumulative support of Lions International Foundation in 2020-2021. As you know, Lions are increasingly called upon to meet the needs and vulnerability populations and in communities both near and far. The support given from your club will help provide Lions the ability to reach these populations and improve the lives of individuals both young and old. LCIF supports critical humanitarian needs in 208 countries and geographic areas around the world. With initiatives as
diverse as the communities being served. Donations from your club around with thousands around the world may help provide a vaccination to a child in the developing world or give food and shelter to the homeless after a disaster strikes their community. Where there is a need, there is a lion. And here is the patch that they sent us. So thank you to everybody that donated for that. Yes, Hell is responsible for that. All right. Is there anything else that I have forgotten that somebody needs to talk about? Cindy. Oh, my fault. I know.
So we have a couple of things going on. President Tom, members, and guests. Now I caught up on it. District Governor is planning her spring conference with a couple of your guy, the chauffeur. My mind just went blank on me. But anyway, it is made. Steve. Yeah. Steve, chauffeur, whatever. Yeah. Honey Pod. Anyway, District Governor is going to have her conference May 13th, 14th in Vancouver at the Heathman Lodge. So this is a reminder, it's not until spring, but maybe you can set aside the time to go and make this a really big splash for us. And this Friday is a club's officer meetup. It's where officers get together and or club members who want to know more about Lions and their club. It meets on Friday, October 8th. It's a Zoom. I'm going to send it out to all the board members just because they might want to do that on Friday or on Thursday. And if anybody else wants to, let me know. I think I send it out 1 or 2 times. And then we have some visitations, and they're on your newsletter and they're up here. So Ridgefield Lions, Tuesday, October 12th. Peninsula Lions, Tuesday, October 12th. Vote in the evening.
No, 1 in the morning.
Ridgefield's AM.
We're going south in the morning and west in the evening.
Is that 6:45 in the morning? Oh, in the morning? I'm going to do that one. Are they having is someone having a chili cook-off somewhere? La Center. Oh, that's next. La Center, Thursday, October 21st, and it looks like they're having a cook-off, chili cook-off. And then the district cabinet meeting is Saturday, October 23rd, here in Longview, Kelso, at the Canterbury. Thank you.
Steve, is that the day that she has to drive herself? That morning one, she has to drive herself? Okay, moving on. I am going to turn this meeting over to Larry to introduce his guest.
King Lion Tom for the Lions, and we do have one guest, I shall introduce here, Laurie Severson, and she is the school readiness officer, or specialist, I guess they say, at Headstart here in Longview. So she's going to do a presentation for us so we have another idea of what's going on in Headstart since we last talked about a year ago. So, Laurie.
So get out of the way, maybe I'll go this way. So I'm going to share a little bit about our program and not fall off this step that I'm going to trip on here. And I am Laurie from Headstart. I've been with Headstart now since 2010. I actually was with the Headstart program up in Randall, Washington. I don't know if many of you know where that little community is up there. Raised my kids up there.
And I just want to say a big thank you to the Lions Club, because honestly, my son is very hard of seeing since he was like about 7 years old, and he broke his glasses continually. And I lived in a very poor community that my husband was a logger for years, and he ended up, the Lions Club there provided him with glasses several times, and if it wouldn't have been for them, he wouldn't have been able to see the things he needed to see. So I have a special heart for those Lion Clubs and just what they did and helped serve our community up in Randall. But I want to share today about Headstart. We serve 9 centers, and our program is really set up to serve low-income families. We do have some over-income families in our program, usually with different things that the family is needing, but most of it is based upon poverty, that poverty level. We have 2 infant toddler classrooms, and we have 8 preschool centers with several classrooms in each of those centers. So the bulk of our program is really serving those 3 to 5-year-olds, even though we find serving the prenatal through toddler years very important also to set up some of those foundations, especially help those families get on their feet. Our program, we also have 62 home-based families that we serve from prenatal through toddler, and this program really is about going into the homes weekly and really supporting those families on child development and some of those social services that are needed and getting them connected in our communities. And our program is grant funded, as I said, to serve low-income families. And it is really, we receive grant funding from the state for what we call our ECAP program, which is a preschool program. We receive grant funding for from the federal government for our Head Start program and for the early Head Start program, that's the infant and toddler. And so I just share that because our program has, Head Start has been around, a long time. I believe we had our 50-year celebration several years ago. That's been a program, and the state program is a little bit newer program, but it's really fun to be able to serve these families and also help children get school ready, because we know how important that is. So we can move to the next slide. Okay. I did bring my paper copy if needed.
I can see it, but it doesn't want to go up there.
Doesn't want to go? Okay, let's see if I can turn my papers here and get to the next one. I always prepare for those things. So as I said, we are serving children to become school ready, and we know that involves the family, but we also then want to work with our children, and so that's a big piece, especially in our classroom. We're working on social emotional because we know that anywhere from birth through 5, they're learning how to self-regulate. We know that 3-year-olds sometimes hit, right? Sometimes they scream. Sometimes they have temper tantrums. And so we're working on all those self-regulations and working alongside parents to help teach those children, because we know that's the foundation of being ready for school. We then, in our program, we work on language skills because children are learning language and picking up vocabulary. We work on cognition and how to stay on task, which is an important skill for lifelong. We also, and that's all right if you got ahead, okay. I was going to say if you got ahead, that's okay too. Okay. So we work on literacy skills, and that's really with their alphabet. And even with those infants and toddlers, we're beginning to rhyme with them. That is so important to help them know writing so that they can learn how to read, because that's one of the steps in learning how to read. We also work with math, and you say, well, what do you do with math with toddlers? Well, with toddlers, I just remember my granddaughter, which she's 11 now, but I remember when she came to my house and she was 2, and she just walked over to the table, and all of a sudden she started counting at 2, and she was touching the little individual candles and saying 1, 2, 3, and she got up to 8. And I was like so excited. I told my daughter, oh my gosh, she's counting. She just counted to 8. We clapped. And so every time she came into the living room or came to my house, she went over there and counted because we clapped and we made a big deal about it. So we know we're getting those foundational skills set up also, as well as those self-help skills. We know that children need to know how to wash their hands and how to go potty and all those things. So we work on that. And then, of course, we work on approaches to learning. And that kind of goes with the cognition of staying on task, but it's thinking that learning is fun and that this is lifelong. And so we want to instill that. So oftentimes, people come into our classrooms and they say, well, you're just playing. You're just playing there. Well, play is serious learning for children. That is the vehicle that helps them to learn. And we know that we need to set the environment up, and this isn't one of our classrooms, but our classrooms look like this. So, except this is really clean. We know that when children are around and we want them to explore, and we're teaching them to clean up, but this is a classroom that has probably been set up to take a picture of it. And children are playing with blocks, they're playing in dramatic play areas, and teachers are setting the materials up so that children are often having opportunities to write. Like in the dramatic play, they might be writing what they're going to buy from the grocery store, and it's scribbles and lines, and they might ask a teacher to print for them, which teachers then are showing that print has meaning to it because children don't know that. And so children are getting that opportunity. I always like this from Fred Rogers. It says, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of the childhood years. So I just love that quote. Can we go to the next slide? Sure. Get it to go good?
No problem. You probably wonder how I got up to this one, don't you?
You know, I often do that when I'm doing stuff. I tell somebody, oh, you can just do that on the computer, and then I'm like, how? I just mess around until it does it. So, well, we'll just keep talking. Again, they learn in the blocks, and they're building and they're learning math skills because they're patterning, they're learning about different shapes, they're learning how many blocks. Oftentimes we'll do studies that is around things they might see in their community. And because we have bridges here in our community, we'll talk about how do you think you could make a bridge? See, we might be working with the future engineers. We might be working with future nurses. We are working with future nurses and teachers and all those different careers. So we set that up so children can have opportunities to begin those skills and build them. They also get to play in art. I don't know about you, but I'm really a messy grandma. I have almost 16 grandchildren now. I'm so excited to be getting the 16th one. And when they come to my house, so this Sunday, they came. I didn't have all 16 of them there. They range from in their 20s down to, let's see, he's 6 months old now. Some of them have joined with, marriages, as they often do. But what I love to do is messiness, and I have a lot of grade schoolers, young grade schoolers, and some preschoolers. And so this time we got out all the glue, we got out all the glitter, we got out all those things. But you know what my children say? That's not happening at my house. So they say, I don't have time to clean up all that. Now, they do some messy things, but they don't do it on a regular basis, and we know in the classroom we can do this. So that's oftentimes the favorite part is arts and being able to explore. They practice getting their pencil grasp when they're doing art. They practice when they're painting on the easel. That's really helping the brain to grow and to get those writing skills ready for when they go to kindergarten and on. They also learn their letters, and I had a picture up here, so if we get to that one, this is one of our classrooms. And so,
I can see it, I don't know why.
So they get to work on their letters in the classroom at circle time as well as in the learning center times, and the kids get to do it in a fun way. Children love to do it by looking at their own name. They love their own name. And so when we start talking about the letters and we start spelling their names and we start sounding the letters, children begin to learn all those sounds and gain those foundational skills for reading. I also wanted to share a little activity from one of our teachers. So we had a training this year that was talking about sensory. And I don't know if any of you have dealt, my oldest son was like this, that if his socks didn't line up on his toes when he was 3, he'd be screaming because he couldn't stand the feel of them. And I remember just thinking, just get the dang socks on and go outside and play. And I remember, I didn't understand it. Well, we know that our children today, some of them are dealing with a lot of sensory issues, and we don't understand why that is. But we took this training that this lady or the trainer talked a lot about brain research and how different things are happening in the brain and can create sensory issues, which then create behaviors of temper tantrums, of withdrawing and not learning like they should. And one of the things that they had in a past training that they had us do was to understand those sensory things, was to put something over our head that had little holes we could see through just a little bit. And they read us a story, and then, there we go, and then they read us a story, and then they told us to, they were going to ask us questions. But having this thing over our head the whole time, we couldn't even answer any of the questions that they had. And they told us that's what it's like to have sensory issues. And so that's made us really think about, well, how do we help our children? So we brought this trainer in, and she talked about different things and obstacle courses and things that kids could crawl and kids could run. But one of the things she talked about was using this cellophane that you wrap packages with and giving little squares and letting children crunch that and let it expand, and you could get science in there, you could get math, you could get colors, and it also helps with sensory for some children. So, here's our letter one, and we'll go on to the next one for sensory, if you can get it there. There we go, yay! So this was the sensory activity. So this is what she said. The cellophane from our training was ordered right away, and it's been a hit. Students love to crinkle up using many techniques of hands, feet, arms, and getting them into silly scenes they enjoy while getting some heavy work in. Because they talked about how our body needs heavy work in, especially those children with sensory issues. We discussed how it grows, other things that grow, and the way items look and the colors they turn when looking through. And so these are children that are this year in our program. She also did what she calls mindful movements to help calm and help bring that social emotional skills. So they have moments that they need to do some breathing, and so they stay outside, I am strong, and then they take some breathing techniques. And if they feel that the students are really getting out of control in the classroom, which 3 and 4-year-olds do sometimes, they turn off the lights, they drop everything, they go back to the circle time, and then they do some of these things to help them get into that calm state of mind. And so this is really helping them so that they can continue to learn those academics that we know are so important. The next slide. Oh, here we go. This is also self-regulation centers in our classroom. So you will often see us in our classrooms where they'll have a place where if children are upset that they can go. This is one of the places in our classroom that we call a safe place. And children go there to learn to breathe. And they also learn what they can choose differently. So sometimes in the past we might have called that time out. But we knew that, I asked my daughter one time when she was, my grandson had gotten a lot of time out. He got a lot when he was little. He's 15 now and not getting any, so that's a good thing. But when he was little, he got a lot, and I said, is he changing what he does? Is he changing what he's doing? And she said, no. And I said, well, time out might work, but you gotta probably do something else to teach him what he needs to do. We teach academics, we teach them how the alphabet, we teach them how to read, we teach those things, but sometimes we have to teach kids about how to be, and how to be with each other, and how to be kind, and how to, when we're upset, what do we do? And what are those techniques? So our classrooms all set up these self-regulation spaces, and they teach them about calming themselves down, about their feelings, so they learn about the different feelings and what it looks like, and what the faces might look like if you were to look at your friend and they were upset. How would you know if your friend was upset? And so our teachers are working really hard on this because we've heard from kindergarten teachers that sometimes kids just don't even know how to be with each other when they go to kindergarten, so they can't even learn. So that is one of the things that our teachers are doing, and they use those moments that are real and meaningful for children to really get in there and work on that skill. And then you see children just changing. I remember a little boy I had in my classroom many years ago, and he was not a biter. I got biters in my classroom, but one day he bit another little boy in his tummy, and it hurt that little boy. And I remember I said, uh-oh, we need to go help our friend. He's got an owie on his tummy. And I didn't even focus on the little one that had done the biting, which in the past I'd wanted, that's where I went. And I said, let's get him a rag. Let's put that on his tummy. It really hurt him. Have you ever been bit in your tummy? I said to the little boy that had been the biter. And he goes, no. I said, do you think that hurt? Yes, he said. So then we worked really hard. And do you know, never bit again. And sometimes that's what I think as teachers, we get a lot of kids in there. We get kids that are biters. Sometimes we get kids that are hitting a lot. We get kids that try to run out of the classroom. But we work on these things and we see children gaining the skills. We see parents picking up some of these same skills and setting these kind of things up in their homes and beginning to work. Because sometimes we try all these techniques and tools that we've had and they don't work. And so that's what we want to do in our program, is really work with families, because we want children to learn how to be with each other. We want that to be a lifelong skill. And we probably know people that maybe should have gotten that skill in the preschool or kindergarten and could work on that now. So we'll move to the next slide. So this is one of our, you probably can't read this, and that's okay. And this is, because I can hardly read it either, so this is our daily schedule for a preschool classroom. I just wanted to show you kind of some of the things that happen. We have several different models. We have a 3.5-hour day that children come to. Some of our funding has allowed us to have a 6-hour day like the schools have. And then some go 3 days a week. The ECAP, some of that state funding only allows us to do 3 days at 3.5 hours a day. So each classroom has a different schedule that they plan at the beginning of the year. So when the children first come in, if they're coming into a morning class, they're going to get greeted, and parents are going to sign them in. They're going to wash their hands. And we also serve meals. We know that children come in oftentimes in low-income families where maybe they haven't had food for breakfast. And so we make sure that our children get 2 meals if they're in a half day, and 3 meals if they're in a 6-hour day. And so they are encouraged, everybody sits down. We usually do family style eating where they get to learn how to pass the foods around. But what has happened, as we know, in this time period, we're not able to do that. So we're just serving up their plates and handing it to them, but they're still sitting down all together. And then after that, they help clean up. We teach them how to clean up because we think that's an important skill. We want them picking up their plates. We want them, sometimes they get to spray their little area with a little soapy water and clean that up. And then in this classroom, they're going to go to music and movement or do some yoga or stretching. And then they'll go and then do a circle time and kind of get to know each other and who's there. Usually it's the same kids, so they're forming this group and singing some songs. And then they go to choice time, which this classroom does 75 minutes. Most of them do anywhere from 60 to 75. And that's where they get to choose, and that's where you saw those pictures of those learning center times. And teachers are setting that up. So some of the fun things they might do is put an alphabet in different places and hide, like cut up little pieces of the alphabet. Like maybe today they're working on A and B and C. So they're gonna be able, and they'll tell the kids, if you look, you might find an alphabet in there. Bring it to me and tell me what the name of it is. So see, it's fun for them, but they're learning still with that. And then they have a small group where they'll do some activities. Usually this is around math, literacy, science, some of those things that take a teacher really leading that group or an assistant. And then they get to clean up and go outside, and we know our children need to be outside, and they need to be running, and they need a lot of first motor, because children are sitting on screens a lot when they're at home, or live in apartments where they may not have someone that can take them to a place to play outside. And then they have another circle time and come back in for lunch, and then usually a large group, and then they're out to saying goodbye. Either parents are picking up, or we bus some of our children to their homes also. And so that's a daily schedule. And I just want to say we encourage people to come, and we are open this year for a little more people coming into our classroom. Last year we were totally closed down, couldn't even have, because we partner with the school districts. They come in and work in our classrooms and work with children that have been identified as having a disability or needing, maybe they have a little bit of a delay, and so the school district will come in. And one of the things last year couldn't even let them come into our classroom, but this year we're starting to open up again. And we also have opportunities to where people can come in and read to children. And so there's lots of volunteer opportunities, as well as there's opportunities to also donate to our program. And we are under LCC, and that's the next page. So we're under the Lower Columbia College. They're what we call, they get our grant funding and pass that on to us. And the Lower Columbia College Foundation is where people can give to. The other thing that I always tell people, we have people that knit hats for us. We have people that do all kinds of fun things that help. And so what we just love is to partner with community. And so if you ever, even just like I said, want to visit, you can just reach out to us, and we can get you connected with the classroom. So thank you so much for letting me share. Anybody have any questions?
How is it that people get to the point where they don't even feed their children? How do you get that?
I think sometimes what happens is that people don't have the money, and they do the very best that they can to have it, but when you don't have any money, and I can't speculate why that is. Sometimes people don't know how to budget sometimes, and so we work on those things. We really work on those barriers in children, because really we live in the United States and children should have food. And so we connect people to food banks. We do budgeting classes. So I didn't mention, we have a real strong social service part. We have family advocates that also go and visit families and work with families on setting up goals that will help them to be more successful. So it is really a good question, because I know in my past, I grew up in a pastor's home, and very limited, sometimes funding, where my dad pastored. He pastored little churches across the state of Washington. And so there were times, thank goodness, we had congregation members that gave us a lot of garden things. And I remember, I think if we wouldn't have had that community support, there might have been times we went hungry. Other questions?
Actually, I don't really have a question, but I want to thank you for teaching children compassion. It really spoke to me when you talked about the little boy that bit the other child, and that you pointed out the pain that he inflicted without actually making him feel bad about it. He felt good about helping, and I liked that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm a fighter. Needs training.
Giving away your secrets.
Everybody only fights himself. That's what I hear.
Thank you very much for this, and here's a little gift and an application for you, because we can use people in Lions. Okay, so we're down to, I guess we're gonna, Cindy, is there any senility?
If I can only remember.
You couldn't remember to look.
The lion tamer, good with senility, right?
Okay. So on the announcements, Paul would like signups for bell ringing. When is it, Paul?
It'll be the second Saturday in December 11th, I believe that is.
Okay. So we'll get a sign-up sheet out for that. Oh, okay, okay. And then the other thing was ideas for helping us get our stuff out of Millennium or Northwest Alloys, whatever it is. And so now let's do the red ticket, I guess. I'll do it backwards. 390.
Yes, right here.
Okay, we're done. Steve won. 810.
Pat.
Oh, Mr. Palmer, okay.
Where you want to go? Oh my gosh, that's not the other one.
He's doing backwards.
What game?
All right. And white ticket is 473-431. Right here. Come on, I legally bought tickets like you did. I can't help that.
We know you bought them legally, we just talked about the drawing.
I don't do the drawing either, so.
Probably all jokers in there now, right?
I took them all out, I made sure.
Okay.
Just for him.
Oh, Ace of Hearts.
Put the joker back in now, Sharon.
Okay, I will, as soon as I get back there.
All right, and then we go on to Darlene. Vatero, that's every week you're here. All right, and is there anything else that anybody has? If not, we're done.